I have been asked to reply to the question of why did I join the voluntary movement and what does it really motivate me to do that. Actually, this happens like 3 months ago. The reason why I joined it was pretty much casual. I heard in the news that there were families walking over in the Hungarian highway toward Austria, and it seems to be a pretty serious issue because there was no transportation. So I decided to go and see by myself, what was happening because the news were contradictory at some point. I drove over, uh, and unfortunately, some friends that were going with me couldn't make it. But when I went there, I didn't see anything on the highway, but on a parallel street, I saw many families, many people walking. They were having children with them, and what I saw close to the border with Austria, it really broke my heart to see uh, a couple of families with children. Children couldn't walk anymore. You could see in the way they were kind of dragging themselves. Parents tried to take them, but they were so exhausted that they couldn't do it either. They took them for a while and then they put them back. That really touched me, and I thought something has to be done. I don't know who was responsible of doing it, but I knew that these people needed help. So on the following days, I continued going. I joined a voluntary group of the Red Cross as an independent volunteer, and then I saw the need was even much higher when I saw thousands of refugees coming over and crossing the Austrian border toward Austria. The need for food, the need for medicines. I saw them with their feet completely with wound and bleeding. There were people that needed to be treated for some heart problems they were having. The stories they were saying that they had walked for so many days were really touching. And there were all kind of people, young, old, women, men, all ages, different nationalities. And I just saw one common factor: we are all humans, and now this is happening to them. Yesterday it was happening to us in Europe, and tomorrow might be happening to know who knows to whom. But actually, human race is one, and we should be supported toward each other. That moved me later for going helping in other places every 14 days, every 2 weeks when I had the opportunity. I went over to Nickelsdorf, and I started traveling in the evenings also from my workplace whenever I finish working. And then on the following weekends, I found out that the help was being needed in other places because refugees were not going to be crossing through Hungary anymore, but they were going to come through Slovenia. So I joined a group of volunteers from Graz that decided to go helping out in Croatia for a group of people that were coming through Slovenia. And what I saw there was even worse. There were 2,000 people trapped between the border of Croatia and Slovenia in no man's land. They didn't have anything. It was in the middle of the night. The group that I was traveling with, we went over there and we found a lot of people with tents on the floor. It was about to start raining, and there were men, there were women, there were children, there were babies, there were elderly people. We even found a person in a wheelchair there. And there was no medical care, there was no food, there was no nothing, and they were sleeping on the grass. So we had a few tents we provided to them. We gave them hot, a warm meal. We kept cooking and feeding them overnight. And for the following uh, weekends, I started getting interested and finding more information about what was happening, and I didn't understand why these people were not taken care of over a weekend. Many things happened. Families will split up, and there were wounded people that were not treated until Sunday from Friday that we had been there. And this moved me to find out more information. Then I found out this what I have described was in Bregana. between Croatia and Slovenia. And on the following opportunity, I went to Babska. In the Babska, what I found, it was very similar. There was a camp about 10 kilometers away from the border, but by the border there was no care for the refugees. There were only a group of volunteers. So the volunteers I met in Bregana on the previous time that I was there, several of them had gone there, and by this time we had started networking with each other over the Facebook and finding out where was need, what was necessary. So we started, along with other friends, collecting aid in kind in Vienna to bring over. So I drove over with a car full of clothing and some other supplies to Babska. And in Babska, I found out people were coming by thousands, also crossing the border. The volunteers were giving them hot tea, and what did really impact me very much there in Babska was the way that volunteers were treating independent volunteers. They were not from specific organizations, but they were working in teams, and I was working with them in teams as well. They were being so nice to people. People were being treated there like human beings, taking care of the children, taking care of the baby. When seeing them so tired, they help them out, give them something hot to eat, nicely, in a nice manner, telling them, welcome to Europe, we are providing here help for you. If you have any problem, come to us, we are here, we have several tents. And people really felt well, and they were saying thank you, thank you, thank you, all along with all the independent volunteers that I have seen helping over the borders. And on the next time I went even further. Then the collection was bigger, and then we put together a team of 8 people, and we drove over to the border between Serbia and Macedonia, that we heard that the situation was really, really serious there, imperishable. We went over there were hundreds of independent volunteers, very well organized, giving completely their time, working day and night, being nice. They looked worn out, but they were completely ready to help with a very positive attitude toward the refugees. But people were by hundreds. At that time, we heard the group of people that were there, that we have by this time grown more, and we had gathered a team of 8 people from different countries, and we were going together to Preševo. We drove over from Zagreb, where people were gathered there by some volunteers in Zagreb. When we got to Preševo, we got a call that in Dimitrograd there were unaccompanied children arriving by hundreds. They were arriving between 400 and 500 per day, and there was nobody helping them out. They were only had a registration place there, and they didn't have enough food or clothing or anything, and it was cold, and they were teenagers mainly. So the whole team drove over from Preševo to Dimitrograd. We established a camp over there, and it was difficult because of all the procedures that had to be followed, that were very inflexible and very difficult, and they were not completely adapted to this emergency situation. So in order to start providing help, we had to process paper for about 3 days, and people needed help immediately. So we started giving the help while we processed the papers. 3 days later, we had processed the papers, and we got an official acceptance to start helping. Unfortunately, later on, very short time after that, it was cut off, because the permission had been given only verbally. All of these procedures were very difficult to get, and up to now it's very difficult over there. But as we got in Dimitrograd and found out that all of these children and the teenagers unaccompanied were coming from Bulgaria, then on the next trip we went directly to Sofia to help out over there. And but in the previous trip, in the one I just described in Dimitrograd, when I was coming back to Vienna, was coming by myself, or the other volunteers have stayed in Dimitrograd helping out. And when I crossed Slovenia, the border Croatia-Slovenia, I heard that there were thousands of people coming. There were about 10 or 15,000 coming over there, and there was nobody taking care of them. when I arrived in my way coming back from Vienna, I drove by and I found 4 or 5 volunteers. Among them, it was Aurelia helping out there. There were a few other volunteers, but Aurelia stayed for several weeks, I know. So we started immediately working, trying to help out to set up some kind of coordination place to start working. And the volunteers staying there with her, spent several weeks helping out, finding food, finding different kind of supplies that were necessary, posting to the internet the needs. A lot of independent volunteers also coming over and helping out and coordinating with her and with other coordinators over there in the in Bresice. In Bresice, 3 sites had happened where people were coming through. They were on the countryside. They didn't have any kind of help, but this team that was assembled there in Bresice did a wonderful job over the next following weeks coordinating the work. A lot of aid was coming from independent people from all over Europe, and these people got help. Many difficulties that other volunteers can describe because they know the details, but I was really amazed by the wonderful work and the wonderful positive attitude they were keeping all along for these weeks. And this all of this has been growing, the realizing of the need. So I have been sharing with other friends of mine in Vienna, with colleagues. They have been sharing with other colleagues, and several teams have been assembled here to go helping out in different sites. At the moment, there are several activities that are being done to help out in whatever is possible from private citizens, sometimes making collections for buying things for refugees in different places. And in the last trip that I had, went to Sofia, where there is a very high need for anything because there is not much information, there is not much help as far as I know, and I didn't see there are not many refugees coming over, but the need is very high. I visit several places there. All of the people that were working with me visit other sites where there were refugees, and we found out that there's a lot of need over there, and but all the work there is not structured yet from the volunteer point of view. Everything is handled by authorities, as it has happened along all the Balkan route. What I should say is that I'm really amazed by the work that volunteers are doing. I have joined myself all these teams, and though we seems to be a group with no head, apparently there is a common goal that unites us, and that is good enough. We are united by a purpose, by a goal, and is helping these people, these refugees that are in need. They need food, they need clothing, they need medicines, but more than everything, they need respect and being treated like human beings. And from independent volunteers, I have seen just coming out of their heart and presenting it just in a way these people regain trust and confidence to move on of the horrible trip that they have had. Some of them have traveled 80, 90 hours, 100 hours or more. They are exhausted when they arrive to those sites, and they are so happy to see a smiling face telling them welcome. This is what we can give you. If we can help you anything, let us know. So I think that is the best face Europe can present, and I'm so proud of these people working with them, that I'm working with them. This is the reason why I joined the independent volunteer movement, and that's the reason why I will continue working and promoting the help for refugees with them, because they are doing a wonderful job. So I can only congratulate them, and that's the reason why I'm here, and I will continue being here. Thank you.